the football week 3. The consensus I've heard from a lot of people, ugly week. You know, a couple of the games that were supposed to be the highlight reel, Brady Rodgers. Not exactly. My Broncos put on another display of American football that ends up being a victory, I guess. Let's get through the games, and then we'll get to the baseball coming up where Pujols did it, 700. Judge is waiting to fully do it. Trying. A little rain cancellation there. And just more White Sox disappointment, Guardians love, all that jazz. But this weekend in football, it started on Thursday with the Cleveland Browns playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Browns end up running away with it in the second half. Nick Chubb continues to be one of the best running backs in the game, $113 on the ground. Amari Cooper, 101 through the air. That was a sneaky transaction this offseason. And the Browns are now 2-1 with Jacoby Brissett holding down the fort. And by the way, should so easily be 3-0 if they held on to that Jets game, the Uzama Chris Rose Bowl. Leads me back to Kevin Stefanski, Browns head coach. Said it before, said it on the preseason show. This guy said it all of last year. The fact that this guy has made the Browns not a laughingstock. It's so easy to be a 1-2 team. It's so easy to be 0-3. And the Browns, with their backup quarterback, Jacoby Brissett, are now 2-1 with at Atlanta next week. Chris Rose said they need to get off to a good start. They can continue that at the Falcons versus the Chargers versus the Patriots at home. So the Cleveland Browns are looking like they're going to become a part of this season. They're a good roster, and then it'll be when Deshaun Watson gets there, what's the crime scene look like? Well, I shouldn't say crime scene around Deshaun. There's a little touch and go there. Mm-hmm. Just meant the Cleveland Browns in general. They beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think I did say bet a special teams touchdown in this game because there had to be, and there was. So I won't take full credit for that because I think I was leaning towards the Steelers getting that done. But Browns go to 2-1. Steelers, I mean, this season, this has to be a weird one for Pittsburgh fans. They play the Jets next week, and you drafted a quarterback early, and quarterback hasn't been a discussion in forever. I wonder when we get to the point where it's like, hey, let's play the kid. We kind of know what Mitch Trubisky is. TJ Watt being out for the year. I mean, that felt like a season ender. Quite literally for both the team and TJ. That brings us to Sunday. Bears-Texans, no. That's what I told you guys going in. I will tell you this, the Chicago Bears are 2-1. They're 2-0 at home. This game was close, 23-20 final. The Texans play close games. Khalil Herbert, Air Bear. He has a big game on the ground. Good for the Bears. They're 2-1. They face BBD's Giants next week. I mean, talk about two contenders. One of those teams is going to have a really good record. And what does that mean? I don't know. I'm looking at the Bears' schedule to see if they... Okay, let's see. Packers, Eagles, Bills, Lions, Vikings to finish. I don't know. There's not a lot of... In the middle of the Bears' schedule, there's not that murderer's row. I wonder if they can drag this out a little bit and get the city of Chicago excited. They're 2-1. I don't think anyone's drinking Justin Fields' Kool-Aid as he throws for 106.
It's felt like it's happening closer to in spite of him than because of him. But
I mean,
happy for you.
They can run the ball. Good for you.
Doing enough.
Chicago Bears. Huge Giants game coming next week. And yeah, that's not That's not a game that people watched. Titans, Raiders. This was a big one. These were both 0-2 teams. And two talented teams, man. The Titans have had a lot of success in recent years. King Henry, Tannehill, kind of viewed as the weak spot. Their conference, we went through that last time. They win 24-22. Raiders fall to the Titans. They're 0-3. Man, brutal. All one-score losses for the Raiders to start their season. They host my Broncos next week, and then they're at Kansas City. Josh McDaniels. Tough, man. Tough. His quote was, "We all feel shitty." I don't like to use that language. But, man, I'm not going to say I feel for him, but I this guy was a wunderkind, offensive genius, took the job with the Broncos, ends up being a part of the Tebow stuff, which goes down as a weird asterisk in NFL history. I think he was a little too cocksure, and there was some rumors about his coaching ways that were not great. Goes back, a little humble pie, back to being a coordinator, lights it up again, waits for his opportunity. Seemingly a nice one with the Raiders. Carr is enough. Devontae Adams, Waller, Jacobs, Max Crosby, they are 0-3. Welcome back to the hot seat. And in that division, I just don't know how you climb out of that. Looks like they do have a Texans, Saints, Jaguars, Colts part of their schedule. So I guess circle that to hopefully revitalize their season. But it bookends, Chiefs, Niners to finish off. Rams floating around there. Not looking good for the Raiders. I guess for fantasy purposes, Mac Hollins. Huge day for him. Go pick him up. Good for the Titans. They salvage their season, and I think they're going to be back in a little bit. They have the Colts 2 of the next 3 weeks, the Commanders and the Texans. This has been a talented football team. Their division, like we talked about, is wide open. Although the Jaguars, when we get to them, get ready for that. Good for the Titans. Good for the Titans. King Henry looked good. Watched him break off a couple. When he gets downhill, it's still something you don't really see on an NFL field. Chiefs, Colts. The Colts, who had been kind of an embarrassment. This reeked of NFL from the start. It just reeked of the National Football League. The Colts, who got destroyed by the Jaguars, 24-0. They tied the Texans, the lowly Texans, who were expected to be the worst team in football this year. The Kansas City Chiefs, on the other side of the field, had been one of the most impressive teams in football this year. So, of course, how does the NFL rear its ugly head? The Colts win at home, 20-17 over Kansas City. Matt Ryan, 27 of 37, 2 touchdowns, no picks. I mean, that's a high attempt column for Matt Ryan, but that's kind of what his box score has to look like if this team wants to win games. Jonathan Taylor got 21 carries, but only 71 yards, 3.4 per carry. There's a bad Chris Jones unsportsmanlike penalty that ends up leading to the Colts winning touchdown drive. So, an NFL will come at you in that way too. I guess good for the Colts. What you can do now is you can say we beat that team. I think if they played the Chiefs 10 times, they might beat them once or twice. And this was one of them. And now your season just looks bizarre. You're 1-1-1. This was your first home game, and you won it. You're 1-0 at home. So depending how you spin zone things and the way the Jaguars are beginning to look, maybe it's not as awful as a start as we thought. And the NFL has a way of, there's always games we look at early on in the season and we're like, what happened there? Could the Colts games be some of those? I don't know. I'd like to see more from Jonathan Taylor and their rushing attack, because I think that's where their team needs to get to if they want to be good or elite.
Step in the right direction.
But you beat the Chiefs, who were gangbusters the first couple weeks of the season. And yeah, I mean, it's just the NFL, and I don't want to say, like, when I say this smelled like the NFL coming in, I bet the Chiefs to win. Just parlaying some stuff off of that because I just thought they were that much of a better team. But
coming in felt like Colts were in a bad way.
The NFL just can rear its head like that. First home game, Indianapolis, the crowd getting into it. And now they're 1-1-1.
Got to play the games.
They're sitting fine. Chiefs, I think they don't care. I think it's classic. You go back to practice and you say, okay, so you guys aren't undefeated anymore. You're not having a perfect season. Not worried about them at all. Someone I should be worried about, and I probably have to issue some apologies in what was supposed to be the game of the weekend, and in a way was, in a way wasn't. Dolphins-Bills. Dolphins-Bills. Tua, Josh Allen, division rivals. It looks like we might get the shootout early. We're seeing Josh Allen moving the ball up and down the field. Dolphins match 14-14 at the half. Give us the shootout we're looking for. Not so much. 21-19 final. The highlight of this game is a game that's going to live on forever. The butt punt. If you haven't seen it, you're going to or you need to. It's just the good stuff, man. It's where sports is beautiful, right? Dolphins punter cranks one into the butt of his the up man. Miami's kicker punt goes off teammate for Bill's safety. Yeah, call it the butt punt, man. We got a name for that. Reminder, I know the Bakers know. I was at the butt fumble. Was in the building for that.
You were?
One of my, Thanksgiving game. Buddy had tickets. There's family season tickets. They didn't want to go on Thanksgiving. So it was a night game. So we went. Had 4 of us. Butt fumble, some drinks in the parking lot. Times were good.
If you just search butt punt on Twitter, the video will come up.
Search butt punt. I normally don't tell you to do that. The Miami Dolphins are 3-0. Tua got knocked out of this game for a little bit. He went full wobbly concussion. Scary, not fun. He comes back. He ends up with a Tua line, which is enough to beat the Bills at home. The Super Bowl favorite Bills at home. Josh Allen throws for 400 yards, which is funny. 2 touchdowns, 0 ints. Nice, Jake. And yeah, the Bills had a 17-play drive that ended on downs. 17-play, 73-yard drive that ends without points. I think you could say that's the difference. There's also a really good video. Ken Dorsey, a lot of you probably remember him as the U quarterback, Ken Dorsey. He is now the Bills' offensive coordinator. Really good clip of him freaking out in the coordinator play calling booth because they ran out of time on him. Throws a straight-up conniption. Good for the Dolphins. You guys know I told you last week I'm not fully in on them. I'm not a Tua guy. I want to become a full-blown fan of their head coach, Mike McDaniel, and maybe I am. The Miami Dolphins are 3-0. I do love Waddle and Hill. I'm buying that. I'm just still not in on Tua. And even the rushing game, I mean, there's nothing there this game. 17 carries for 41 yards. We'll see if Edmonds or Mostert can get going at some point. I guess I thought I was going to hop on the mic and be like, all right, Dolphins, you got me. I guess I'm not still there. I mean, re-looking at this box score and how this game could have went, Buffalo screws up a potential field goal attempt before the half. Josh Allen bobbled the snap, so he didn't think he could spike it. He thought he'd get the intentional grounding, so he just had to throw it away. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of little things. The Dolphins are 3-0, and I like their talent on offense, except I'm not going in on Tua yet. I'm not there. And maybe I'll just end up being the fool, and that's fine. Bills, they'll learn for it. They're still stacked. Vikings, Lions. Told you guys that this was going to be a good one, and it was. Vikings end up winning. They come back down 10. They put up 14 points in the fourth quarter. Dalvin Cook had a Dalvin Cook game, 96 yards, 1 touchdown on the ground. Thielen and KJ Osborne doing the damage through the air for the Vikes. Cousins to Osborne, the late one to put the Vikings up. Also, Dalvin Cook got banged up a little bit. My guy Madison, the backup, my favorite handcuff in fantasy football, Alexander Madison. He's nasty. I know Cook got banged up. We'll see if he plays next week. And the Lions, same song, different chorus. Every Lions game. They go to 1-2, which again is a little bit of a bummer. And by the way, their Eagles loss is looking better and better as the Eagles become this like dominant force across the NFL. It's a bummer that they're 1-2, especially because they kind of had this Vikings game in Minnesota. That would have felt like a big announcement for Lions fans. They play the Seahawks next week at home. I mean, Lions are going to be a nice favorite against them. So again, where the Detroit Lions are trying to get to, you got to take some steps along the way. And these are part of it. And good for the Vikings to bounce back. They're 2-1. They got embarrassed by the Eagles. They hold up at home and come back for the victory. Lamar Jackson is balling, and he loves to ball against the Patriots. Patriots, first home game. Think about what I said about the Colts. Like, they've been somewhat lackluster as a start to their season. But, you know, you get your first home game, and if they win this, they go to 2-1 over a good Ravens team. Not so fast, my friend. Lamar runs for $107 on the ground. He has 4 passing touchdowns and 1 rushing. Dobbins came back, was not a factor. But Mark Andrews, man, that guy's been not as flashy as Kelsey, and he plays in, you know, that Baltimore offense. But that dude, 8 catches, 89 yards, 2 tutties himself. New England outmatched by a better team, and that's kind of the story that now I think if teams are seeing New England on the schedule, you used to think, even with like rookie Mac Jones, it was still the Belichick effect a little bit. Like, we can't slip up here. Like, it's New England. It's Belichick.
Can't overlook them.
No, if you do that, like, you're going to find yourself in a bad spot. There's none of that right now. I don't think any part. Their defense, remember, their defense was racking up fantasy points. They were getting like 25 fantasy points a game. They kept scoring and just turning the ball over. There's no fear factor with New England. Devontae Parker, 5 for 156, finally having that breakout year. Big Louisville game. How about that? Lamar Jackson, Devontae Parker. Ravens, 2-1. They look good. Bengals finally look right on the road as they dominate the Jets, 27-12. You get some Jets D-line, Quinnen Williams yelling at a coach on the sideline. That's a good time. This was a big game for me in Burrow because he has a Burrow stat line, 23, 36, 3 touchdowns. The Jets, they just came back off that huge comeback victory. Home game. Early on in the season, we could not be the New York Jets this year. The Bengals, they haven't looked good. I thought the Jets would come out hungry dogs a little bit. Bengals nip it in the butt. Flacco, 0 touchdowns, 2 picks. Yep. Not much going on the ground for the Jets either. And, yeah, Tyler Boyd with a monster day, 105, 1 touchdown. Jamar Chase has the touchdown catch, otherwise kind of limited around that. Burrow looks like Joe Burrow. And on the road, the Bengals had been ugly. I mean, Steelers, Cowboys, those losses can look rough by the end of the year. They're already kind of looking rough. But they were close. They kind of came back in those games. They didn't play any of their guys preseason. Any of their guys. That was one of the storylines. They're home versus the Dolphins. I think you guys, unfortunately, know where I'm going to stand on that one. And there's a chance I look foolish. But I think I'm drinking some Bengals Kool-Aid on that night game. Hello. Man, how about this? The Bengals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have 4 of 5 games where they're on the road. That's tough. They handle their business. Jets, get me some Zach Wilson or something. I think we're over. I think we know what Flacco is.
He's supposed to be next week, right? That's what
I think so. I know
what the reports are.
Let's see. Zach Wilson. See what comes up.
Already
all clear for Zach
week.
Wilson to reclaim starting job as Jets offense flounders. That's your New York Post headline. We'll see. Yeah, they said expecting week 4, but I guess they haven't fully officially announced it. But yeah. I think after this,
they've done everything short of saying like, "Oh, he is back."
I think you can firmly say that would be welcome. Eagles dominate. I tweeted it. Tweet got a lot of engagement, which I always appreciate when it's not the baseball. 24-0 throughout most of this game. The Commanders. They get a touchdown late. 24-8 is your final. Hurts, 340 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. He looks the part, man. He's doing whatever he wants out there, and it looks pretty. They dominate on the lines. A.J. Brown is a beast. The guy gives me T.O. vibes. He's just a monster of a human. Devontae Smith won the Heisman. Does not look like a monster of a human. Looks like a guy that's almost too skinny to be running routes on an NFL field. He's a freak show, man. He goes up and gets it. 8 catches, 169, 1 touchdown. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert are a sneaky nice weapons combination. And the way Jalen Hurts is playing right now, and the way they dominate the lines, I'm all in. I guess that's my thing. I was hesitant coming into the season on the Eagles in a similar way to the Dolphins. I wasn't a Hurts or a Tua guy. I kind of had him in similar boats. Hurts, if I had to rank current quarterbacks, I think Jalen Hurts, top 10, top 8? Jalen Hurts is balling right now, and I was a guy who was very skeptical. So kudos to them. The Eagles look dominant. I guess I buy Eagles stock. And there's not a lot of good stock to be had. Some people did believe, and they were right. The lines look real. I guess Dolphins being my juxtaposition of just not liking every 3-0 team. That's where I'm at. Commanders, nothing for you. Nothing. Panthers,
nothing.
Nothing for you. Panthers, Saints, kind of nothing there. Panthers get their first win. Both these teams are 1-2. Both of these teams are just unappealing.
Yeah. Both their fan bases, I guess, were optimistic they could be 2-1 at this point instead of 1-2.
Yeah, Baker and Jameis, uninspiring in separate ways. McCaffrey goes for 100. That's good for him. No Carolina receivers had more than 2 receptions.
Which sometimes can be
sometimes
a fun
it's cool.
Stat.
Here it doesn't.
Tends to be cooler for Tom Brady's team.
Yeah.
If you'd believe it.
Chris Olave broke out a little bit in this game. The Ohio State receiver, 9 for 147. Good for him.
That's a big one.
Yeah, both these teams are 1-2, man, and you can't even really dream up if they start clicking. I'm over it. Because I want to talk about the Jaguars.
Yeah.
The Jaguars go in to face the Los Angeles Chargers. Herbert, my guy, injured. He had the ribs. That was the last time we saw him. They announced he was going to play this game. Cool. Doesn't matter what he's really doing when the Jaguars hang 38 on you. And this is a real test. This is a road game. East Coast team going out west. The Chargers are one of the most talented teams in the NFL. Robinson runs for 100 on 17 carries. Trevor Lawrence, 262, 3 touchdowns. The Jaguars are 2-1. They held the Chargers, the high-powered Chargers. I know Herbert's banged up. No Keenan Allen in this game. Whatever. You play who's out there. They hold them to 10 points after shutting out the Colts. So they blew that lead to the Commanders. Otherwise, we'd be talking about a 3-0 Jaguars team. We are not. They are facing at the Eagles. You heard everything I just said about them. Will that game reek of the NFL? Is that what I'll be saying in a week? I don't know. I'm not there yet with them. But I know after that, they play the Texans, Colts, Giants, even my Broncos at this point. Doug Peterson, he got to the top of the mountain with the Eagles. Things got a little crazy on him. He was out. What did he learn? I listened to an interview with him with Russillo. Liked him more than I thought. And then he gets Trevor Lawrence. And I know Jacksonville's not your football destination normally, but Trevor Lawrence was supposed to be the guy that could make that happen. Neither was Cincinnati. Look at Joe Burrow. I'm excited for some Jags football. They're becoming kind of a must-watch team for me. Falcons and Seahawks are not. Falcons win 27-23 on the road. Cordarrelle Patterson, big rushing day. Nothing there for you. Rams beat the Cardinals 20-12. Kyler, kind of some empty stats. He ends up with 314 yards through the air, but I know for fantasy people, he was a letdown this weekend. See, Rams are back up to 2-1. Cardinals are 1-2. Uh-oh. I still like the Rams. I still don't like the Cardinals. That's where I'm at there. And then Packers-Bucks. I wish I could talk about this game more. We were getting ready to do Yankees stuff. We were at the game yesterday while this was kind of going on. I'm going to assume it didn't live up to the billing like people were hoping that Rodgers-Brady would live up to. Green Bay, look at them. They have another horrible week 1. They're now 2-1. They win this game 14-12, 2 first-half touchdowns. They don't score the rest of the way. New England, Brady's throwing a Russell Gage out there. Like, I guess what we just said, the high-powered offense of Tampa is supposed to be Mike Evans and Godwin, and even, Gronk was there. I know he wasn't full Gronk. Russell Gage, Cameron Brate, Brashad Perriman, Jalen Darden, Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley and Scotty Miller are on the Bucks. That feels redundant. Packers win. Not much going on the ground. They're 2-1. They get a road win at Tampa, which will end up looking great. Romeo Dubes, maybe a name you have to learn. He was their 4th-round pick, the guy that dropped the ball. Excuse me. He's not the one that dropped the ball. 4th-round pick, 8 catches, 73 yards. Could he be the next guy that Aaron Rodgers can elevate? Because he can. So I wish I had more on that game. I didn't get to watch that one in detail like I hoped to, but seemed like it didn't live up to the billing. I think a lot of this weekend was a little droll for the NFL Sunday. Broncos Niners 11-10. I don't know. I can't believe my Broncos are 2-1.
Feels by accident.
Safety and field goals. The offense feels so uninspired. How can I believe in Hackett and Wilson right now? Yet they're 2-1. They very easily could be 3-0. I mean, I guess I need to see them get tested more and more, but it's good. They won. Listen to my voice.
Next 2 for them at Vegas and versus the Colts, who we'll see what the vibes are like by the time those games come, but certainly winnable, and the Chargers can be a test.
And to finish off the weekend, Giants-Cowboys tonight. We'll be tuning in, talking Giants. Giants going for 3-0 at MetLife. Place is going to be rowdy. I think I'm going to bet the Giants. Some tape out on Cooper Rush now. Man, if the Cowboys win. Not even going to think about that. So, that's your football weekend. Hope you enjoyed it. I wish I could enjoy it a little more. Those damn Yankees, night game sucks. That's fine. And let's talk about the baseball.